Alaikum salam. Oh, it's your mashallah. All right. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Inshallah, if we could have the speakers come up. Inshallah, first of all, take their seats. And everyone else as well, take their seats from outside. If someone can just close the back doors, please. If I could have someone just close those doors. Thank you. We'll get started in a minute. Assalamu alaikum. Where's Zim? Where's Zim? Oh, there you are. Assalamu alaikum. Move your seats a little bit up so you can look at me easier that way, inshallah. Okay. You could just move a little bit up so I can see you. Because I'm going to be asking the questions, inshallah. Okay. Yeah. So this is the mic for this side. You just pass the mic back and forth. You got your mic. You guys ready? Got your mic. You're going to share back and forth. Okay. So I'll just start off. No, it's not necessary. It's not necessary, inshallah. Do you have one? Oh yeah. Okay, yeah, bismillah. Yeah, bismillah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, bismillah. Come on. It's okay. Bismillah. One of you too. Inshallah. We want to keep it balanced, right? This is about equality, right? That's what the topic is. Right? Alhamdulillah. Should I flip a coin? Right. I'm going to flip my phone. All right? Sure. All right. Her name? Jannah. Okay. Sure. What do you mean? Oh, where we all want to go, inshallah. All right. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Bismillah, alhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah, wa ba'd. So today we have a very important talk. It's going to be about double standards in households. And we're going to be talking about two aspects. Number one, are there double standards that we have between sons and daughters? And more importantly, are double standards justified? And should there be a justification Islamically or culturally or rationally for these type of double standards that exist? So alhamdulillah, this is a topic that many people do talk about. Many of the young people were talking about this and they feel that there are double standards and there's some injustice in those double standards. So they had an idea to say, hey, we should have a panel discussion along with parents talking about this topic. So inshallah ta'ala, we've had quite a few people showing interest in this program. It looks like sisters definitely are more interested than the brothers, but that's okay. So that's perfectly fine, inshallah ta'ala. So before we get started, we have a very quick announcement from our sponsors. And as you know, our sponsors are IIOC. So bismillah, sponsors. Oh.
Assalamu alaikum. First of all, AC or no AC? AC. We'll get that done, but for extra charge. Inshallah.
Inshallah.
Okay, well, the topic is probably going to be very interesting, so it's going to take too long to get you out of here. But before we do that, I have a commercial 2 seconds or 2 minutes to ask. How many knows about our gala that is coming up on the 21st of May? The 25th anniversary of IIOC, the sponsor. All of us. How many purchased a ticket? Raise your hand. 1, 2. Hey, you don't count. Come on. This is your masjid. This is your organization. You need to know what goes on for the last 25 years and for the next 25 years, inshallah, to come. So here's what my pitch. Please listen, argue, raise your hand. But at the end of the, inshallah, the night, please, the table outside, purchase your ticket. Not to only to you, but your family member, so you can enjoy the 25th anniversary. Promise? Or will be no AC? Jazakumullah khair.
So as you can see, we have very tough sponsors, mashallah. But alhamdulillah, they mean well. All right. Bismillah, alhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah. So we're going to get started with introductions, first of all, inshallah. So we have 3 young people to my right side here who have parents, grew up in a household, they're involved in the Muslim community. And let's start by introducing them. So Zim, why don't you start? Introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about yourself, your age, your parents, how many siblings you have, just that stuff for now.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Zim. I'm 18. I'll be 19 in 1 month. I'm Albanian. I grew up in a Muslim household. I have 2 brothers, so 3 boys in total. That's about it.
All right, good. Alhamdulillah. Moving on.
Assalamu alaikum. I'm Miriwa. I'm also 18, currently right now in my first year of college, and I do have a brother who is 1 year younger than me, so he's a senior, and I grew up in a Muslim household, but for reasons for the double standards talk today, I'm going to say that I also come from a Syrian household, and I have 1 brother.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Jannah. I'm 23 years old. I have 1 brother and 1 sister. And I also grew up in a Muslim household, here-ish.
Alhamdulillah. Jazakumullah khair. And then to my left, Sister Sahar, why don't you start?
Sahar Abdulaziz. I am the mother of Jannah Sulaiman over there. And I grew up in a Muslim home.
Alhamdulillah. So total number of kids you have?
We have 3.
We have 3. Okay.
Yeah, 1 son and 2
Alhamdulillah.
daughters.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Shireen, and I have 2 kids, a boy and a girl. She is turning 19, and he's turning 17. I love them so much.
Alhamdulillah. MashaAllah.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Faiza Af. Forget about the age, and I have
Alhamdulillah. Smart move.
I have 2 girls, 1 boy, and I'm Syrian.
MashaAllah. Jazakallah khair. All right, inshallah. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. So we're going to start hearing the youth side because there's a lot of talk in our youth group. We have different programs, and one of the common concerns, you could say complaints, is that there are double standards. So let's start off with Zim. Why don't you tell us a little bit about, I know you didn't have a sister, right? But what were the rules like in your house in terms of curfew, in terms of chores, in terms of all these other things? Just tell us a little bit about that first.
Okay, well, I come from a house with 3 boys, so I don't really see the girl side very much. Although I know that if I did have a sister, she'd probably be in this whole conundrum. But I have to be home. Like I come home fairly early up until recently because I work from like 9 a.m. to about 9 p.m. So the only time I have to go and hang out with my friends and my cousins is later in the night. But my parents trust me very well, you know what I mean? But as far as household and stuff like that, because we were 3 boys, me and my brothers would always clean the house while my mom would cook. So I never saw a problem with, having to share household duties or anything like that.
You have a curfew?
I do not have a curfew
No
right
curfew.
now.
You can just come home at 1 a.m., no problem?
Ooh.
Yeah, I sometimes if I come home at 1 a.m., but it's not like I don't tell anyone. I'll just say, hey, I'm at my cousin's house. I'll be home at 1 a.m. I know it's a little bit late. If you want, I'll sleep over at my cousins. And obviously, my parents know who I'm hanging out with, which is a big thing.
When you were in high school, 1 a.m., no problem?
No.
Okay, let's talk about high school.
Okay.
Let's talk about high school.
Unless I was with my cousins, at my family's house, then I wasn't allowed past midnight.
Past midnight.
Midnight.
So high school, senior, junior, midnight, you come home, no problem.
Junior year, if I came home at midnight and I was with my family, it was okay. If I was with my friends, obviously my parents would have to know who my friends are, but normally they wouldn't let me.
Muslim friends, non-Muslim friends?
Both.
Okay, so non-Muslim friends, 11 p.m. would be fine?
11 p.m. was okay.
11
as long
p.m.
as
was
my parents
okay.
knew where I was. Yeah.
Okay, very good. All right, move on. Riwa, why don't you tell us a little bit?
Okay, so I don't want to discredit my family and say that there is like any huge difference between my brother and I, but there is a slight difference in terms of curfew. I conditioned my parents very well. I mean, before I wasn't able to go out late or anything. They always had to know who I was with, which is justifiable. I understand that. They always knew who I was with, and there was a set time that I had to be back. And this was even before I started driving, so I was very young. And then when I got my license, I was 16. There was a little bit more leniency, but I do believe that was because there is a trust. There is a trust. So in terms of my brother and I, in terms of going out, yeah, they will let us both, go out, especially if they know who we're with. But the only difference is that with me, there is an interrogation beforehand. So there is a, who are you going with? Where are you going? What are you doing? When are you going to be back? They do ask my brother as well, but it's not to the same extent. It's just like, oh, where are you going? When are you going to be back? I don't know. Okay, bye. That kind of thing. So in terms of that, there was a slight difference between us. And also in terms of coming back, like the time that we came back, before I would have more strict curfews. I've never really had like a specific curfew because it changes every time depending on who I'm with or where I'm going. So it just depends. But the curfew has gotten a little, like the leniency has gotten a little bit more, but that's just because I've talked to my parents a lot about this issue, and I've told them, like, if you're gonna let my brother, you have to let me. But it's never an extreme. I never push it with them, and it's usually with people that they know and trust. It's mostly like me being with my cousins or something. If it's with my cousins, then it's not as big of an issue, because they're family and they trust me, and they trust them as well. But say I did come late, really late. I came back really late. Let's say like 2 a.m. There would be. I'm not saying I've ever come back at 2 a.m. But if
this is hypothetical here.
This is hypothetical completely.
Okay.
I've never been out that late.
Okay, alhamdulillah.
But say I did come back that time. There would be a huge issue in my house. I wouldn't have heard the end of it for a long, long time. There would be repercussions. But in terms of my brother, he has come home that late before, and there never really has been like a stern, talking to or a repercussion, and that is where the difference comes. And in terms of household chores, my mom did used to make my brother clean the house with me, but as of recently, he has been slacking very much, and my parents have not been very strict with getting him to help us clean the house. So it's really just my mom and I, which, of course I'm going to help my mother, but there isn't that reciprocation from my brother. So that's also where the difference comes.
Okay. Bismillah.
Okay, so we're talking about high school.
Let's
right?
try and focus a little bit more on high school. You can mention college as well, but focus on high school.
Okay, so I have to think back a little bit.
Because things change in college a little bit more, so we want to kind of see the high school.
Okay, so in high school, I didn't have like a set curfew. It wasn't like you have to be home at 10, but it was just don't be out too late. And I think the same questions that my parents would ask me about where I'm going, who I'm with, there were a lot of questions, but they asked my brother the same questions. It went both ways.
Okay.
I got the text, where are you, come home, it's getting late, and my brother would get the same text. Like it was pretty much equal.
Okay, so you didn't see a discrepancy in the way that your brother and yourself were being treated?
No, I think maybe my brother would be more comfortable going out all the time. I just wouldn't do it as often. Also, I think because a lot of my friends had, like, my parents were known to be like a little bit more lenient with like, depending on the genders.
Okay.
My friends weren't as much. So if my friends weren't going out late, I didn't really have anyone to go out with.
How about college? Anything changed in college?
In college, I think it was similar. I think I went out a little bit later.
Oh.
I think because in high school, once I started driving, I think there was a little bit more worry. Like, okay, it's past 10, like you're driving, come home. But as far as what my brother was allowed to do and what I was allowed to do is
same thing.
Pretty similar.
Pretty similar.
Yeah, I think the difference was our friends.
Okay.
So my friends weren't allowed to do certain things, so I wouldn't do it, but my brother's friends were allowed to do a lot more.
So would you say that you're kind of an exceptional household? Is that what you think?
I think so, yeah.
Okay, so all your friends kind of did experience this where the girls were not able to do things that the guys were able to do?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe not too extreme, but like I saw it a little bit.
Slightly different.
Yeah.
Okay.
As far as chores go, everything was the same. I mean, we didn't really do that much anyways. But
Alhamdulillah.
but anything
Fifth
we were
Amendment,
supposed
you
to
know.
do, my brother was also supposed to do too.
Alhamdulillah.
At one point, we had like for washing dishes, it was like Mondays is this person, Tuesdays is this person, and it was
Alhamdulillah.
the same. My brother would do the same.
Okay, very good. Thank you. We'll go with the parents, inshallah. Sister Sahar, why don't you tell us a little bit about how you raised your kids? Did you treat boys and girls differently, and if so, why?
I have to remind everybody that Jannah is my daughter. And when
You
I
didn't
was-
pay her to say this,
No,
right?
I did
Okay, just
not.
want to
I
make
was
sure
just
we want to be
waiting
very
see
clear.
What is she going to say,
Okay.
and how is she going to see
All right.
what I did in the past
Okay.
and all that. And I think it's because when I have a sister and we never had a brother, and my parents were always fair with both of us. And their friends would always tell them, oh, it's because you have two girls. My mom would say, no, I would treat them the same, even if I had a boy. And when I had the boy, I said, you know what, I'm going to have to prove her right. I'm going to treat them all the same. And people didn't think that we could do it, but we actually did. And we would tell them, whatever is haram for you is haram for her. Whatever is wrong for you is wrong for her. So you both have to do the same thing. And sometimes at one point, maybe my son thought it was reverse discrimination because, he wasn't allowed to do things, and he thought that I didn't allow him to do it because if I would allow him to do it, then I would have to allow the girls to do it. And I would say, no, I'm not allowing you to do it because you're not supposed to do this. You're not supposed to be late, and they're not supposed to be late. And the reason is because I really don't want you home late at night because it's dangerous. At 12 o'clock, there are a lot of people out there that might be drinking, and you might get into an accident. That it's not safe.
So your son thought that there should be different standards for men and women.
Because his friends do more things.
The
boys.
Okay.
And their parents allow him to do more things. They allow him to go out more. They allow him to do whatever. But I did not allow it. So it's like, oh, my friends do this, and you're not allowing me because if you allow me to do it, then you're going to have to allow the girls to do it. And you're not letting me do it because of that.
Okay.
So he
Very good.
actually thought it was he's being discriminated against, not the girls.
Right.
And the same thing with traveling. Once they had to travel, it was the same thing.
Field trips, high school field trips.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they were
Same.
allowed to go on field trips. They weren't allowed to go overnight. To long trips, like a week trip or 2-day trip or a camp trip.
Eighth grade trip to Washington D.C.
Nobody was allowed
No
to
one's
go.
allowed to go out. Okay.
Nobody.
Okay.
So actually, for that reason, I was saying you can't go anywhere until you finish college.
Okay. This is a great
So-
question. Real quick. Anyone went on a trip in high school? Youth group camps?
Yeah, youth group
Brothers and
camps.
sisters both got to go? Yeah? Well, you don't have a sister, but... You went to MSA West? Your brother got to go cross-country to France, Paris, Antarctica? No?
I've been
Nowhere.
a bunch of
Okay.
times.
You've been a bunch of times? MashaAllah. Awesome. All right.
So after college, actually, I was saying you can't go anywhere. You finish college. So after college, he graduated. He said, I'm going to Dubai.
Okay.
And I couldn't really say no
Mm.
because I said after college, you could go anywhere.
Right.
And then my daughter graduated, and after college, she said, I'm going to London.
Mm.
So
You
I
said
couldn't
fine.
say anything.
Okay.
Yeah. And
Okay.
I'm going to New York. Okay. And then the door was open.
Alhamdulillah. All right.
So that-
Very good. Sister Shireen. Similar experience? Totally different experience?
Well, yeah, kind of, because my daughter is like they have 2 years apart.
Okay.
And my son hasn't he's not driving yet, so he
Mhm.
doesn't go by himself.
Okay.
But for my opinion, I believe that both should be treated equally.
Okay.
But there is a but. Okay.
There's a
The
but.
but is it depends on their personality and how mature they are. If my daughter, I feel that she is mature enough and she can take decisions for herself and decide what she's going to do, then I'll put more trust in her and I will give her more freedom than her brother.
Okay.
The same thing, if her brother is more mature, I will give him more freedom than his sister. So it's not because a boy or a girl, it's because who's more responsible and who's more mature and can take decisions.
Mm.
So this is how I look at it. I'm kind of strict, or actually me and her dad, both dads, are strict about them leaving house
Mm.
to go live somewhere by herself or that, which we had that kind of discussion. I believe that he has to stay with us until we feel that she's ready to be by herself. I feel that she's still young.
Okay.
So deciding which one has more freedom than the other, it depends on the child himself.
Depends on the personality. If the personalities are the same, you can treat them equally.
Equally.
Okay. If they're both at college and they're coming home late from a class at night, and you know that they're going to have to walk cross campus, it's dark, getting to the parking lot, are you more concerned for your daughter than for your son? Or equally, so it doesn't matter. If you're going to carry pepper spray, both of you need pepper sprays. Otherwise, none of you need pepper sprays, you know.
Again, it's personal. If I feel that my daughter can handle things by herself,
Okay.
then I'll be more focusing on her brother.
Okay.
If I know that the brother is really like not responsible enough to watch around and make sure that he's secured enough,
Okay.
I'll be more on him.
Okay.
But like I have to be honest a little bit. I'll be more worried about the daughter more than
You will be more worried. Okay.
because I've been raised up in like like our culture and our where we came from,
Mhm.
and it took me years to adjust to this testimony here.
Mm.
We grew up in an environment that boys are in charge of everything, and boys should take care of their sisters. They can stay out late if something is needed to be purchased from outside late night. Usually the son would go, and actually it's here too. I can't imagine, like, say if my son drives too, I can't imagine if I need something like late 1 a.m. or 2 a.m. to be bought from outside.
You need someone to go to the pharmacy at 1 a.m.
My son.
You would send the son. Why?
It's culture.
Just because of
Okay,
culture.
It's
So,
a culture. But I'm trying to get over this by doing what I was telling you, to
Okay.
treat both upon their personal.
Do you think safety-wise there's no concern?
It should be concerned. Again,
Oh, so there's concern.
it's upon them. How I feel.
I was trying to.
It's, hold the mic a little bit closer.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. I think I'm equal fairly because I have one boy and two. Okay. So I'm just put this note that there is a difference, but it's not like injustice.
Tell us, okay, I got that. So tell us a little bit, what's the difference?
Like,
What's the difference in how you treat your son and your
yeah,
daughter?
like for example, I'm being serious that I talk more to my girls than my boy because it's that's how Allah create women likes to talk about their problems more than fix it. But boys, subhanallah, they want to fix it right away, you know.
Right.
And the subject is totally different. I can't just put my boy and talk the same subjects with my girls.
Right. Okay.
When they want to go out, it's different. Like my boy, he goes out for a long trip. He travel now and everything. My girls do too. I don't mind, of course, but it's just like it's like it has to.
Is there any difference? Do you ask the girls more questions? You ask the boys more questions?
I
Same
don't.
questions?
I just no. I don't. It's the same.
Okay.
They go, and he goes. It's just like different ways, because what.
Tell us the difference. What's the different
My
ways?
son trips is not going to be my girl's interest,
Okay.
So that's the difference.
Okay. So what I'm hearing is from the young people is that most of their friends, everyone they hang around with, everyone they know, is that they're saying there's double standards in the community. The vast majority of people that you know have double standards, and they don't have the same standards for men and women. But we have 3 parents here who are like the super exceptions to the rule, so we're not able to represent those double standards in the community. So something's going on here, right? So we need to get to the bottom of this. Tell us a little bit about friends, okay? Tell us, what do your friends go through? Do they have, your friends, do they have different curfews? Do they have more chores? What are they complaining about? Give us some insight into this. Who wants to go first? Whoever wants to go first.
Male and female perspective?
Yeah, male and female perspective.
Well, I feel like when it comes to this issue, culture plays just as much, if not more, than the religion. Just because I'm Albanian, but I have a lot of Arabic friends, Ethiopian friends, or friends from Syria and such. So each family from each culture has slightly different, but at the end of the day, 100%, they're more strict and more on the female or on their daughter, and way more.
Give example. Concretize.
Okay, for example, my Ethiopian friend, his name was Muhammad, and his sister's name is Mina. Before college, I rarely saw her outside in the yard, let alone outside with her friends. And when she would go with her friends, it wasn't even friends, it was cousins. And those cousins were a lot older than her. They always knew where they were at all times. They always knew when they're going to come back. She never came past 9, not 10, 9. She never came home past 9. And if she was at cousin's house. My Syrian friend was pretty much the same thing, but they didn't have very much family around there. So his sister would very rarely go, outside with friends, especially American ones. And then for my culture, Albanians.
And she wanted to, but she's not allowed to? Do you know that detail, or you're not sure?
Yeah, no, I know she wanted to, but at the same time, she kind of trusted her parents that they knew something better, because she knows that these particular girls are the type of girls that, they have like short shorts when they go outside and like a tank top or something like that.
Okay.
So she knows that they don't have the same ideals and
So
morals.
she doesn't really want to hang out with them. So.
Well, they were her friends, but she knew that her parents wouldn't let her go out. But she did want to go and hang out with friends, of course. Okay. In my culture, in Albanian culture, it's pretty much the same thing as is in the Middle East. My cousins who are girls, don't go out very much unless they're coming to my house or another cousin's house, another family member's house, unless they get together. If all these cousins and girls get together, then they're okay. Recently, a group of my cousins, but they're older. They're either seniors or in college. They went to Florida, and they were there for a week. And the dads would always talk like, "Oh, you better watch out and do this. I want to know where you are, and all that stuff." But at the end of the day, they did go. Yeah. So I feel like when they're together, they're okay. But for the male's perspective, and I know for me, because I know if I had a daughter, because my parents talk about it all the time, they say if you had a girl, she'd be inside all the time. It's true. But
do you do that yourself?
Myself,
would you do
if
it?
I had a kid?
Yeah, if you had a kid, you get married, you have a kid, you have a daughter, are you going to treat the daughter differently?
I'd like to say no.
Or are you going to be like the parents over here?
I'd like to say that I would be like them, but at the end of the day, in this country, I know I would be a little bit more, not so much strict, like you can't do this and you can, but more I'd be just watching the daughter more carefully. Not to say that I wouldn't be watching my son, but it would be like 60-40. 60% of my attention would be there, 40% of my attention.
Okay.
You want me to be honest? I'm going to be honest. You know what I mean? But at the same time,
it's probably like 70-30, but he's being modest. It's okay.
That's all I was just about to say is I think that I would be like 60-40, but I look at other, like my friends, it's like 99-1.
Okay.
Like, no, seriously,
Okay,
I'm with my cousin.
Alhamdulillah.
I mean, my other friend, he never got one text, one call. He'd come home at 2 a.m. Oh, don't worry. I'm like, oh, wow. Okay. And his sister?
Same age?
I didn't even see her for like 2 years, like straight up. Seriously, I didn't even see her for like 2 years. That's how like they kept her really good.
Okay.
So,
Alhamdulillah.
I mean, they kept her inside all the time, but that's my
Mashallah.
perspective.
She's like in a box or something?
She's inside all day long.
Alhamdulillah. So we don't know what's going on
But
over there.
I mean, other communities, other cultures, they really keep an eye on the girl a lot. I would say like 80-20.
Okay.
Not to say that they're going to let the kid go out, but I feel like they're worried that their son is going to be like a druggie or something like that. They're concerned if they have a bad kid. But for a girl, they don't want her to be out with guys.
Got it. Okay. Jannah, you look like you had something to say.
Yeah, I just want to, I mean, we're kind of all laughing because it's something that's like, it's true, but it's not like, it doesn't feel that extreme, but it kind of is. And so I think the parents are saying like, no, I'm equal. I think it's not about, oh, like you're unfair, but there are certain, it's not necessarily rules that you have, the girl can do this and the boy can do whatever he wants. It's just like people worry, and that's fine. Like obviously there are differences, and you don't even have to say the boy is different than the girl, but the experiences that they have are going to be different. And so it's normal to worry, and I think everyone understands it. So the girls who are getting all this worry from their parents, they understand it, and so they kind of go along with it, and they don't think it's as bad. But when you think about it, you're like, yeah, my brothers or like everyone I know who's a guy does whatever they want to an extent. And the girls, come home at Maghrib time.
Because of the worry and the concern. Do you think the worry and the concern is justified in terms of different worry standards between men and women? Because of our society or something?
Parts of it are.
Part of it is what part of it is justified, what part of it's not?
I mean, it's true that there are a lot more risks going out like as a girl. It's true. It's like they're facts. But the problem is that I don't think that's the part that bothers parents. I think the part that bothers parents is reputation. So you don't, for for example, you can. A lot of parents are like, oh yeah, you're not supposed to be hanging out guys and girls together or whatever. But most of the guys I know hang out with girls all the time, and their parents are like, oh.
They know about it, and it's okay.
Yeah,
generally.
but the girls would never do it.
We got to spice this talk a little bit up. So I'm going to ask you a straightforward question. Do you know Muslims in the community who are in dating relationships?
Yeah.
Okay. So now those guys who are dating, do their parents know that they're dating and they have girlfriends?
A lot of the times, yeah.
A lot of the times they know. Okay. Do you know sisters who have boyfriends and are in a dating relationship?
Yeah.
Okay. Do their parents know?
I feel like now sometimes,
They
yeah, but probably not as much.
Not as much. Okay, let's
Yeah.
assume the ones who do know, right? Is there a different treatment? The fact that their son is dating a girl or their daughter is dating a boy?
Yeah, I mean, I've seen it even like parents are sometimes proud when it's their son.
They're proud that their son is in a
They're
haram
like good
relationship.
for them.
Good for him.
I've seen
Alhamdulillah.
it.
MashaAllah.
And,
Okay. And these are practicing Muslim parents?
Yeah,
It's-
yeah, I mean both.
Okay.
I mean, it depends on how the relationship is. I
Right.
mean, there's like a huge range of how it can
Okay.
go.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, I remember some of my friends whose parents were a little bit more like stickler on the rules. It was like we would be doing something, a bunch of girls, and like we're out, and so someone from their school who's a guy will see them, and they'll be like, oh, hey, like something like totally innocent. And they'd be so scared because they know that their parent is about to pick them up, and they're like, if they see this guy talking to me, I'm going to get in so much trouble. But you see their sons, and they're posting pictures with a bunch of girls, and it's fine.
It's not a
And
concern.
it's public. They're doing it like with no issue.
Why do you think parents act like that?
Reputation.
So what? Explain why. Why are they concerned
A
about reputation?
girl will have a lot more of a harder time getting married.
Okay. The guy is
And
easy.
the
he can
guy,
just
it's
get married.
fine. It's boys will be boys.
So you could be with like the Trump thing. Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah. All right. Reva, why don't you tell us a little bit?
Okay, so I wanted to touch upon something that she said about the girls and the relationship with their family. So I'm gonna go ahead and say it is true that girls are generally more emotional and guys are more. They think more in terms of rationalization, and girls are more about their emotions and how they feel. So that's why I think it's part of the issue, but also I want to just touch upon something. In general, when the parents treat the guys differently and they say go ahead, go out, or not even that they say go out, but they just don't object to them going out. They're comfortable. But if a parent would go and tell the guy, no, you can't go out, you would hear the guy throw a huge tantrum. No, why aren't you letting me go out? I'm free. Like, I live in America. This is a free country. I can do whatever I want. I'm a guy. I can do this. I can do that. But the girl, if the parents tell her, no, you can't go out, I mean, there might be some friction, but it's not to the same extent because the girl, and this is from my own personal experience, this happens in my household, I won't, talk back as much because I understand where they're coming from and I don't want to hurt their feelings because they're my parents. At the end of the day, everything I do and everything I say to them has to be out of love and respect, and I can't disrespect them because they're my parents. And girls generally have a better understanding of that. Right? I don't want to say guys don't, but I want to say that in general, they don't act upon it as much as girls do, And so this is where I see the issue. It's a rampant issue, especially among girls in our youth. We talk about it amongst ourselves a lot, but we don't always bring it up to our parents. And this comes out of, our respect and love for them, and a little bit out of fear and a little bit out of, they're not going to understand. I don't want to bring it up to them and talk about it with them because they're not going to understand, because that's the way that they have been conditioned. The way that they have been brought up in their culture has conditioned them to view the girl differently than the guy. And it is very much harder for the girl to speak up to her parents about the things that she's feeling than it is for the guy. The guy doesn't have the same issues going and confronting their parents, but the girls do.
It's a very interesting theory you're bringing up here. So you're saying maybe it's the rebellious nature of boys when they stand up to their parents that causes the parents to give different standards as well, because they don't want to be arguing with their children and all of that.
It's part of the issue 100%. And also, I'm telling you, this is something that happens in my household. Part of the reason why my brother does have a lot more leniency now is because he does confront them. He openly confronts them and he tells them, no, like this, that, you know. And I don't as much because I understand my parents' worry, you know, especially in this day and age in our society with Islamophobia and me being a hijabi woman, it is a lot scarier for me to be going out, but my issue isn't that they're afraid for me. I understand that concern. My issue is the leniency that they're allowing the guy to go out more than the girl. Or it's not even just about that. It's just about, in general, the way that they treat the girl and the guy. You know, like if I were to go out at night, even like the example you were using, to go to the pharmacy at night, yeah, they would want my brother to leave and they wouldn't want me to leave. They'd rather my brother go. And
would you rather go yourself?
I mean, I don't have an issue going because the pharmacy is like right next to my house,
Okay,
and we live in a safe neighborhood.
Let's assume it's further.
I wouldn't have an issue. I mean, yes, I would want my brother to come with me because I also have this concern. You know, going out at night is sometimes scary, especially in the society. You never know who could be around the corner. But you know, going back to my point about the guys, you know, being more rebellious. My issue is not with the parents' concern. My issue is with the inequality and the difference in treatment. If you're concerned for me and you don't want me to leave the house at a certain time, then the same rules should apply to the guy. This is across the board. It's not just something that happens in my house. And even in my house, it doesn't happen as often. I know it happens a lot more often in other people's households. And I know this from my friends as well. There is a difference, but I think you have to nip it in the bud. If you're going to be concerned for your daughter, be concerned for your son as well. There are lots of things that happens to guys out there too, but we just don't think about them because we think, oh, guys are masculine and they can handle themselves. No, if a tough situation comes upon them, they might not be able to handle themselves well. Sometimes in certain situations, a girl might be able to help herself better than a guy can help himself, you know? So I think the issue is just that, sorry, the issue is not the concern of the parents because that's justified. The issue is when they treat the guy different than the girl, and that comes down to culture, I think.
So we have a bit of a dilemma here. So what I'm hearing you say is that generally there is a little bit more danger for women, let's say at night. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, of course, yes, 100%.
Right, but at the same time, you say it's unfair to have different standards in terms of men and women going at night. Because they just, even though the guy may be at less risk, assuming exceptions to the side, they still should apply the same standards regardless of the threat level that's out there.
Regardless.
Okay.
You know, if you're going to set a curfew for the girl, you should set a curfew for the guy. And again, I'm going to bring up something different. It's not just because of the risk factor, it's also because the brother becomes more arrogant over the girl. The brother becomes more arrogant over the sister. And this is something that I know personally. And it's not
sibling rivalry, basically.
It's not even about sibling rivalry. It's just, you know, like
they'll rub it in, basically.
They will rub it in and they crack jokes, sexist and misogynistic jokes, and they don't understand that it's hurtful.
Okay.
They don't understand it's hurtful, but it is. It is. And you know why they crack those jokes? It's because they have that upper hand. They become arrogant over the sister because they see themselves being treated much differently than the girls, and this is where the issue is.
So perhaps the problem is with the young boys and not the parents then. Is that what you're
both.
saying?
It's both. You know, the parents have conditioned.
Okay, good. Bismillah, go ahead.
Yeah, I have a comment on this.
Yes.
I still stand behind that boys and girls should be treated equally.
Okay.
I do believe in that. I'm really supporting this 100%. But when Ria was saying that sometimes boys are treated differently from girls, this is true, and it should be a fact, because when we are raising up boys, we're raising up boys to be husbands and taking care of their family. When we're raising up girls, we're raising them up to be wives and moms. So they should be treated differently some way. We treat boys when they were young to take care of like his sister, because when he grows up, he's going to take care of his wife. When we
just move it. Just keep moving. Yeah.
Well, when we treat the girl in a different way, we treat her to take care of her brother, because when she grows up, she's going to take care of her husband. So a kind of teaching them the relationship that they're going to have when they grow up. We cannot change that. We cannot change that. She's going to be a husband.
There you go. MashaAllah. Good. Alhamdulillah.
Be a husband. Like she's going to be the wife.
So that's in the way that you talk to them, but are some of the rules going to be different because they're growing up to be a husband or growing up to be a wife?
Rules in what way? It depends. It
Curfew
depends on the
rules, going
situation.
outside rules, traveling rules, anything like that.
With traveling, yeah, I'll be more concerned.
You
but
will be.
again, I'll be more concerned with the girl.
Okay.
Okay. But again, the boy, it depends on how he's more
Okay.
mature. But with the girl, I'm not gonna let her. At least this is what I believe. Thank you. With the girl, I
Yeah.
believe that she shouldn't travel that young. At least when she graduates from
Okay.
college. So
Okay.
she's gonna be more mature and be able to think and act and she's been living with us all her life and she's never been by herself. I cannot just throw her somewhere overseas
Okay.
by herself, not knowing
Good.
what's going on.
Okay, good. So we're getting some of this. I'm going to open this up to the audience. I specifically need some parents who are going to say that we need to have different standards. Like the parents of the youth that are being mentioned here, they're not fully being represented here. So we need some of those parents to speak up, grab the microphone. The microphone is right there in the back, and explain to us why you think that your sons and daughters need to be treated differently and why it's justified. We need your comments, please. Microphone is coming your way. All right, let's get them started. Go ahead.
Assalamu alaikum. Well, my name is Yvonne, and I'm born Mexican, so I'm a convert. But I'm married to a very hardcore Palestinian guy.
Hardcore Palestinian.
So-
Okay. Wow,
It
mashallah.
was hard, very hard in the beginning. So
Alhamdulillah.
I have a 12-year-old boy, and I have a 10-year-old daughter. So my husband is of the thinking of woman should not go out. She's not allowed to have friends. She is always with me. But my boy is allowed to go sleepovers. He can go to knots every day if he wants to.
Okay.
He doesn't have to clean because he's a boy.
Okay.
I'm the mama, so I'm there to clean.
Okay.
So I didn't grow
You
up like
you agree with him or no?
No.
Oh, you don't. Okay. We were looking for your husband to speak. Is he here?
No,
He's not here. We need him to speak actually. So.
Well, no, my husband will never be quiet.
Okay. Alhamdulillah. That's
Well,
okay.
I don't think that is fair for my daughter
Okay.
because she feels there is a big time discrimination at home.
Okay.
How come my brother gets to do this? How come my brother gets to go out? I
Okay.
never get to do nothing. And
Okay.
I feel her.
Okay.
Like, well, she's allowed to do something.
Right.
Now that I'm Muslim, my thinking changed a little bit because I didn't grow up to be a Muslim.
Okay.
I understand his concerns,
Okay.
but I think there should be a little bit more trust,
Okay.
and she should be able to do certain things.
Let me get someone.
One more thing
Okay.
that I don't know. I want to bring a subject.
All right.
So
We're going to come back to you. So I specifically want to hear a parent who's going to justify in the audience why the treatment should be different. Because we're hearing the parents here for the most part. Are you a parent? Are you a parent? Change your mind? Sheikh Faqih is going to make you change your mind. Inshallah. You're a parent? Are you a parent? Brother in the back, you raise your hand. Are you a parent? Future parent? No. No. MashaAllah. Inshallah, once you have kids, we'll call on you. Inshallah. All right. Do we have a parent in the audience who's willing to justify different standards?
We need to
for
hear
men?
from a dad too.
Huh?
We need to hear from a dad.
Yeah, dad or mom. It doesn't matter. There's not a single parent in here that thinks that there should be different standards. Do we have one? Bismillah? Yes, go ahead. Bismillah.
I'm Mexican as well, like Yvonne.
The dads are scared, mashallah. Go ahead. Alaikum assalam.
I'm Mexican.
Just move the mic a little bit. Yeah.
I converted to Islam a couple years ago, and I was married to an Egyptian, and sister. My parents trust me a lot, and I think it's male, female, because the same race as a female has the same race as a male. Yeah, I can be more stronger physically,
Mhm.
but women, we're more like stronger mentally,
Okay.
honestly.
Okay.
So I
Interesting
agree
too.
with them that there should be no differences.
Okay,
I didn't
so-
see that
okay.
differences.
So you say that there should not be any differences.
Not be
Okay,
differences.
we're looking for somebody in this audience of 100, 150 people.
No one's gonna talk because everybody knows it's wrong. Like it's all a cultural thing. No, everybody knows in their head
No,
that there
so-
shouldn't be a huge gap.
Okay,
Everybody
no,
has a small gap. but there
hold
shouldn't be-
on. I had parents talking to me before this debate saying, you know what, I want you to make sure that you don't allow these kids to say, hey, it's perfectly okay to have these standards. Where did
Where
those
they at?
parents go? Oh, yeah, they're here. I see them. I don't want to start calling you out, but you talked to me and you said, yeah, I believe there should be different standards. Please speak up now and let us hear what you have to say. Inshallah.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah.
What I want something that I experienced. I have 4 kids, 2 girls, 2 boys.
Yes.
And my girls always get together and say, "Mommy, let's the boy." She doesn't let us. You 3 are saying you're trying to be equal. I think you are hitting to yourself, and you're not really being honest with yourself.
Stand up, please. Stand up.
Honestly, let's be realistic. No matter
She
what.
said they're not being real to themselves.
Yeah,
All right.
no, you're not real to yourself because I tried. I came to the U.S. I was 10 years old. I've been in the U.S. That's like you said, age for a long time. I went through a lot. My brothers, I had 2 brothers and a sister. My sister got married too early. But my 2 brothers, like you said, they went out. They had girlfriends. But this is in the 70s where there wasn't a lot of mosque and, unfortunately. But thank God, they got married, of course, automatically. But at 17, they got married. But they're, Anyways, when they wanted to go out, it's okay. If they did something wrong, I used to fight and say, why are they doing something wrong?
Okay.
I used to have a cousin. He used to say, they're boys, and they're over 18. It's okay. What if one day I become over 18? Is that okay for me? So they didn't like.
They said no.
No, it's not okay for me.
Okay.
But it's okay for them.
All right.
And we still till now.
So now you agree with their position?
No, I agree. I agree with my daughters, but I tried.
Okay.
My boys, they're right here.
Uh-huh.
I had an incident last night. I try, and my husband travels a lot. I'm strict with both sides.
Okay.
I try to be fair, but sometimes
But,
the
okay.
boys win.
But do you think you need to have different standards for boys and girls?
Sometimes, yes.
Okay, give an example. When?
Uh,
In what circumstance?
Well, actually,
No.
no.
No. Okay,
No.
subhanAllah. We don't have a single pair. Okay, we got one in the front here. Okay, let's move the microphone around. Okay, to make it very clear, please, we're looking for a parent who believes there needs to be different standards. Bismillah.
Bismillah. There needs to be different standards because we are created different. Okay? It's in Quran. You mentioned it earlier.
Well,
Maybe
it says
it was not
Yes.
on this subject. But there is a difference. For us, not to acknowledge that there is a difference between a male and a female, okay, is, to me, we're not following the teaching of our deen, okay? Yes, we came to this country where we see equality between men and men. What is the result? Okay, we see the result. Do we want our female daughters to follow suit, to be like them? We don't. And like the sister said, to follow this society.
Okay.
What happens in the society where there is open freedom for them to do whatever
Okay,
they
so,
want?
so you're
and we
saying
know what they do.
you're saying in Islam there's different rules in terms of dress code and things like that for men and women. My question is, when it comes to parents, should there be different rules when it comes to chores, when it comes to curfews, when it comes to going out with friends between sons and daughters? Should there be different rules? And if so, what?
Yes.
Yes. Okay,
The
good.
sister mentioned it earlier. It will all depend on, most of it will depend on their maturity. Okay, on how they were brought up. Okay? If they go with good people, with Muslims, and spend their time in the mosque like what our kids do, the result is going to be different. Okay? Still, even that, I would not send my daughter to go somewhere at 10, at 11, at 1. Why? Because of what I see in this society.
But your son would be okay to go.
You know, I would be more lenient with my son.
You would be more lenient with
Yeah.
yours. Okay,
Not
good.
because
We got
I-
some. Okay.
not-
Now we want you to explain why.
True. Not because I see that my daughter is competent or is less than him.
Mhm.
It's the society.
Mm.
It's how we are, men and women. Allah subhanahu
How
wa
are
ta'ala.
we? Explain. What's the difference? Why let the man go out and not let the woman go out at 10 p.m.? Explain.
She
What's the
would-
reason?
okay.
Are you? What is the fear?
A girl will be vulnerable.
More vulnerable. Okay.
Vulnerable.
Okay.
A man, you don't see much,
Okay.
of that type of treatment for
More
men.
vulnerable in what sense?
She could be attacked
She could be attacked physically. Okay.
physically, sexually, whatever.
More likely
it
to
is.
be attacked or molested.
Yeah.
Okay.
For us to think that there is this environment does not exist, like the sister said, we're kidding ourselves.
Mm.
Okay? Luckily, the girls, most of them, understand why we think like that.
Okay.
It's not because we want to create differences between them. It's not because I like my son. I like both of them. Dictate. Assalamu alaikum.
Okay. Jazakumullah khair. One more question for you. If your son, hypothetically, inshallah, it doesn't happen. If your son, you found out that your son had a girlfriend, you found out that your daughter had a boyfriend, would you be tougher on your daughter or equally tough on your son? If you found out your son had a girlfriend, and you found out your daughter had a boyfriend, would you be equally upset with them and would you treat them in the same way to discipline them regarding that?
I don't know. Probably I would be tougher than with my daughter
Okay.
because of the culture
Because of
and
culture.
the deen.
Okay.
Okay.
And the deen. So
Yes.
where in the deen?
Yeah.
Okay.
It has more ramifications culturally, at least.
Culturally.
Culturally,
Okay.
at
Culturally. Back to culture. Okay. Inshallah. Good. Alhamdulillah. Oh, you have a hold on. Bismillah.
ممكن احكي بالعربي بالعربي
Okay. So
اوكي
we'll
ليش
translate.
ليش عنا المجتمع بيسامح الرجل الولد شو ما عمل والبنت بيحاسبها اكثر على اللي بتعمله بس هذا سؤال للكل للمجتمع العربي تبعنا ليش ما بنحاسب اثنين مثل بعضهم هذا مش شيء لاقي جواب على السؤال
Okay.
يعني
Sual Jamil, but you want to answer that? Okay. Fine. Go ahead. Just repeat the question in the answer.
She was asking why there's big difference between boys and girls. Why they forgive the boys and they don't forgive the girls. It's only because of cultures. And culture has nothing. I mean, I don't want to say nothing, but honestly, culture has probably not even 2% of Islam. That's why we should. I mean, it's time to just. We trapped in cultures. I mean, I'm not. I mean, alhamdulillah, I'm not. I'm proud of myself, and I refuse my cultures. I respect it, but I refuse it. Since when I was young. I mean, Allah yarhamu, my father, he taught me this, and I'm proud of this. But all these problems they were talking about, it's according to the cultures. This is the truth. We all trapped in culture.
بس
Okay.
الدين
الحمد
نفس
لله.
نفس
No,
العقاب.
religion has equality between boys and girls.
ما شاء الله.
Exactly. الدين
جزاكم الله
عنا
خير.
بيحاسب الغير نفس الحساب
Yes.
سواء الرجل وسواء المرأة نفس
That's true.
الحساب بس مجتمعنا
Okay.
العربي
Exactly.
Okay,
بالكامل
let me ask.
Allah said
okay,
الزاني
thank you.
والزانية.
Alhamdulillah, I'm gonna have to stop this right
Order
here.
in the
Okay,
court,
thank you.
please.
Alhamdulillah. So,
It was really
hold on 1 second. I need a quick show of hands, please. Quick show of hands, parents. Okay, parents. How many of you? No, it's okay. How many of you are parents? Raise your hand, please. How many of you are parents? How many of you are parents? Okay, parents. How many of you can honestly say that you treat your sons and daughters equal, or you would if you had sons and daughters? Raise your hand. So about 20%. In terms of going out and rules, house rules and all of that. Okay, about 30%. Alhamdulillah. Okay, Omar, go ahead. Your turn. Bismillah.
Yes, assalamu alaikum. I'm not a parent, but I work with youth here. And so I had a reflection I had intended on sharing with you all even before this event was organized. And I think we can just take a look at this room and we look at how many people are in attendance on one side and versus the other side. Yes, it's in part because, seems to be like a topic that's more attractive to women.
Tell her how it is, Omar.
Thank you, Zim. I will. Thanks. No, it's something that is definitely attractive to women, but at the same time, it's like this every Friday. It's like this every Friday, and it's not just for the adult programs, but I would also say that it's for the youth program. So I've been involved with the youth program here for most of my life, and I can tell you with complete honesty and sincerity that unfortunately I don't see a maturity in our young boys or our young men that I see in our young girls. So if I were to, I'm not looking for please hold
us, man.
applause,
Come on.
seriously.
Alhamdulillah, keep going.
What I'm honestly trying to say is, and it's going to end up in a question for Sheikh Mustafa, so please be ready for that.
Bismillah.
We're in a situation where we have boys kind of being treated nicer or more leniently, but at the same time, is it really for their own benefit? That's the first question that I wanted to ask. Secondly, I recognize that most of the parents, they didn't raise their hands when they said that they could honestly, treat their boys versus their girls the exact same way. Wow, is this being recorded? I just noticed. Please,
Yes,
no recording.
Alhamdulillah.
No, this is serious, everyone, because I don't see young men anymore. I don't see young men. In fact, I was just talking with one of the youth outside, and I asked him, how come nobody comes here anymore that are like from the young boys? There's a few here, but not as nearly as many as there were. And when they were here, there's definitely like even for me, I would be happier to be with the girls than with the boys, because at least the girls would listen to me. But whenever we would have like some sort, and they're nodding their heads because they know, because the discussion wouldn't go in any place. So I wanted to ask Sheikh Mustafa as a question, because that's why you're here and you're the moderator.
Yes.
And I don't envy your position one bit. What can we do to change this? Because it's obvious there's a problem. It's obvious that there's a problem that has existed beyond just right now, beyond just for the past 5 years, but for 10 years, I would say. And it seems to be getting worse. So it's difficult for me to ask this, but I feel like many men or many young men, they're actually losing their understanding of what it means to be a man because of this like recent wave of feminism. Do you feel that that's like a part of the reason? Like they don't know their place anymore, so just rebellion and just being, rambunctious and, having no manners and no etiquette, is that the reason why they're like that? Or is it because of the way that they're being parented? Or because everyone's intention of this program coming here was like, yeah, the girls need to be treated better. And I think most people kind of have that in them, but what they're not realizing is what's happening to the boys, what's happening to the men, and where are the men nowadays?
Thank you. That's an excellent question and an excellent observation, actually. So when we look at our families, that's probably what a lot of people were coming here for, is to say, how can we make sure that, the sisters are going to be treated in the same manner because there's a concern going on from the sisters. You brought up an excellent point. So to answer it, I definitely agree with you, is that we have a major problem with the boys. And as you were saying, is that, yes, they're going to grow up to end up becoming in different roles. One is going to be a husband and one is going to be a wife. And there's a difference between the two of them. And the two problems that we are facing is, one, this idea of not being strict enough with the boys, not disciplining them enough, not getting them to live up to the maturity level that they need to be to establish and run a family properly, right? This is one major problem. And the second problem that Omar was hinting at, this idea of, you could say, hyper-feminism, right? This idea, there's some good aspects of feminism, but we're talking about what I mean. Let me define what I mean by that. This idea of third-wave feminism. Those who have studied idea of feminism, there's been 3 waves on an academic level. The third wave basically says that it's more than beyond voting rights and all the other things that have happened, but that there's significantly, fundamentally, no difference between a man and woman except physically. And that is actually belied, or it's incorrect scientifically. We had a program here by Dr. Marwa Azab, Does anyone know Dr. Marwa Azab? Anyone heard of her? We had a program here at IAOC. She is a neuropsychologist. So she studies the brain. And she talked specifically about the psychological differences between men and women. And we have to realize as Muslims that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala put different rules in place, not just because men and women are physically different, but because they're psychologically different. Does not mean that one is superior and the other one is inferior. It just means that they behave differently. And I think, you were mentioning some of these things. So if we are going to have exactly the same expectations, forget rules aside, we're going to have the same expectations, if we're going to talk to them in exactly the same way, if we're going to raise them in exactly the same way, and you were talking about speaking differently to them and all of that, I think this is exactly the problem we have in our community. And that's why we have a problem in our youth group. And that's why we have youth mentors complaining every single week about the boys in particular. And that's why we're lacking, and that's why marriages, it's not always a man's fault, but marriages are becoming very difficult because men are not trained to be men. They're not trained to be the head of a household, to be running a family. So these are very excellent points you brought up, and we need to really, parents need to wake up that yes, we need to address the sister's concerns, the daughter's concerns, that there's not a fair treatment taking place. And that is important, and that's what we're talking about today. But we need to address the other aspect as well. And that is what's going to happen if we keep having these double standards and we keep on being lenient and overly lenient and not really caring much about the boys and not being strict with them and not being disciplining them and not teaching them how to change the oil in a car, not teaching them how to balance a bank account, not teaching them basic things on how to fix things in their house. And now all of a sudden their hormones are raging, they want to get married, they're 22, they're 23. They don't even know how to repair their car. If it were, they can barely even fill up gas in the car. They don't even know how to pay an electric bill, right? So how are you going to raise a family that way? We need to seriously have more discussions on this. We need to talk about this more. And there's some good sessions we've had in the past. If you've not listened to them, they're available on our website, on YouTube, on IAOC. You could check out those discussions, inshallah ta'ala. Thank you for asking that, Omar. Bismillah, panelist, inshallah.
I just want to add something. It's like an advice or something I discovered. When we talk to our kids, we need to differentiate between talking to our daughter, like my daughter, versus talking to my son. Topics with my daughter are totally different than topics with my son. One of the topics that I really want the moms to pay attention to is the way our girls lately, they wear their hijab, the way they wear it. It's becoming more loose and it's not really as it used to be. And this is one of the discussions that I was talking with my friend, my daughter and her friends about this. The problem is they were saying that it's becoming more common because we as parents, every time, parents or our friends, when we see these girls wearing the loose hijab, what we do is cover this, do this, do this. If you're not going to do it the right way, just take it off. So even wear it the right way or take it off.
They say that?
This is what we say.
Subhanallah.
Me or my friends, or this is what
quite
we
problematic.
do.
All right.
Yeah, because most of your hair is shown, the way you're wearing, so we judge them a lot. So what they told me, when you guys judge us a lot, that way, we tell ourselves, okay, so if we're not making them happy in a way, so we're really considering taking it off. Because this is how I want to do it, and we need to know that they are raised up in this society with girls their age, they're barely wearing anything. So one of them told me, well, you guys should appreciate that we're even wearing it as a symbol for Islam. Maybe if you put trust in us and believe in us more, then we're going to fix it ourselves. So it's I don't know, I just wanted to share that with the moms, especially with the moms who have teenagers, because this is a discussion I had with my daughter and her friends a lot, and it's been forever, and finally I got to that point. So try to change the way we talk with our kids about convincing them to change something.
Right,
we need to think from their point of view.
Thank you. Last question from the audience, and then we'll conclude. Brother Ismail over here, inshallah. Please bring the mic over to him. Coming. It's okay.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Walaikum assalam.
Please don't ask me about my children. That's number one. I have 5 of them. My comment here is about the standards. We have you know,
Just stand up.
the Prophet ﷺ set the standards for us. It's not up to us to set the standards. That's number one. Because if we do it on our own, we will grow roots in this room before we agree on anything. And we will keep talking about it day and night, and we will not finish. These standards are in the life of the Prophet ﷺ, how he dealt with his family, with the children, and how he raised them, how he advised the companions to treat the girls, and how, you know, because the girls, specifically the girls, are a reason for us as parents to enter paradise. قل إن الخاسرين الذين خسروا أنفسهم يوم القيامة وأهليهم. The losers on the day of judgment are the ones who lose themselves and their own children. Can we afford to lose our daughters, to let them go out and have boyfriends and treat them like dirt and send them back to us and be proud of it as parents, as Muslims? It's impossible. That's not the criterion. We have here conflict of cultures. We have conflict of generations. We have also psychological situations that we have to deal with. And many people are not actually up to adapt themselves to the new environment they are in. Many of us here are from different countries, different cultures, different backgrounds, different races, different languages, and so on and so forth. The upbringing of us as parents is totally different from one family to another. So if we leave these standards up to us, it's a very relativistic approach, and we will make mistakes, and we will, of course, sometimes, due to the influence of the dominant culture here, allow our daughters and sons to do things wrong, Islamically speaking. So we have to be very, very careful about this and focus on the life of the Prophet ﷺ, the standards he set for the family, for the children, and so on and so forth, and decide based on our sources, Islamic sources, not our own decisions or the culture that is dominant.
Excellent reminder, inshallah. Jazakallah khairan. So it's, as Brother Ismail was saying, it's very important that we learn our Islam. We learn what the Prophet ﷺ did. We learn how he taught the companions. And it's not just about what our cultures are, but we should actually make sure our Islam is where we get the teachings in terms of how we raise our families. Because that's how we're going to have to answer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So when it comes to Islamic values, in a nutshell to conclude, is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has prescribed different rules when it comes to males and females in many instances. When it comes to inheritance, when it comes to dress code, when it comes to many other things. But at the same time, on the spiritual level, when a man commits a sin and a woman commits a sin, they're equal in the sight of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When a man commits a good deed, or if a woman does a good deed, it's equal in the sight of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. There is no favoritism when it comes to earning Jannah or being punished by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So what everyone needs to do is they need to go back and look at the standards that they have for their sons and their daughters. And they need to ask them, beyond whatever culture may be, am I applying these Islamic teachings or these Islamic values when I'm making decisions concerning my children? And if they're not based on these Islamic values, and you care more about the reputation of your daughter and you don't care as much about the reputation of your son, or it doesn't matter whether one of them is doing drugs and the other one is doing drugs, but you're more concerned with the daughter who happens to be doing drugs or happens to have a boyfriend instead of the boy having 3 different girlfriends at the same time or over a span of whatever it is, then we need to go back and we need to ask ourselves, where is the Islam in our life? We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to increase us in knowledge. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to increase us in sincerity. And we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to help us to raise righteous and successful families, to protect our children, to protect ourselves from the whispers of shaitan. May Allah help us and guide us at all times and in all things we do. Ameen. Subhana rabbika rabbil izzati amma yasifun wa salamun ala al-mursaleen walhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. I want to thank our panelists here today. Thank you very much. And I want to thank the audience for being an excellent audience and to ask you to help pick up the chairs, inshallah. Jazakumullah khair. Assalamu alaikum.